like, comment, subscribe. Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we are going to talk about the Blon BL-05. The Blon BL-05, does it live up to the standards that the BL-03 put out? The Blon BL-05 comes in the usual Blon box that says belief, let music burn, apathy, and never give up. And it also says annotation, music and dreams. I think that's a typo. It should be dreams, but maybe, I don't know, maybe dreams means something different. Usual old box, peel off the plastic. There's a little box inside there that has your cable, carrying bag, and some tips, and then your IEMs are up top there. Speaking of the tips come in 2 bags, and also one set is pre-installed. Take off the set that's pre-installed, put it inside one of the boxes or bags, and chuck them to the side and never use them again. And then here's your carrying bag. This is the burlap bag. It's nice. It works. So the cable that you get is the same cable that you get with the BL-03, and if you didn't like that cable, go ahead and replace it with the same cable that you use on the BL-03. I'm okay using it. I just get frustrated with it tangling up, but it's not that bad. And you can also get it in the microphone version. If you want to replace it, one of the cables that I recommend is the VK4 cable. So if you have a VK4 laying around, just grab that cable, put it on here, it works great. Build wise is top notch for the shell, and the design is craziness. So as you can see, it's a silvery fingerprint magnet with some gold accents, and you have Blon written here. And then in that little circle, it'll say R and L, so you'll know which one is left and right. Angle is very well done on these. They're not too thick. They have good angle. If you take the tip off here, you can see that they have a short nozzle, but an angle that's fairly aggressive. About 5mm bore on it, and these are, even with a little bit of heft that they have because of the aluminum casings or whatever they're made out of, they are extremely comfy. That angle just fits right in perfectly, and they are rounded, and they just sit and disappear into your ear. About an 8 out of 10. Only reason for the 8 instead of a 10 is because this cable is not the best. But overall, I find them to be extremely comfortable, and design wise, these things are incredibly built for the price tag of $40. I don't think there's probably a prettier headphone or earphone out there in the $40 range. I mean, these things are just insanely built. All metal build. So I give them a 9 out of 10 on the build. Isolation of outside noises is average, it's about 60%. Okay for office work, light noises. If you're in heavy, loud noises, planes, airplanes, buses, trains, that type of thing, yeah, these probably won't work the best. But to be just roaming around, walking around your neighborhood, taking a walk, or doing work in the office, these work just great, and comfort wise. How do they sound? Sound wise, they are an aggressive V shape. They have really nice bass. Sub bass reaches down deep. You get a nice thump and a rumble, good clarity, good details. Mid bass and upper bass have very good details and clarity, and they have some good punch to them. They're not like massively bass boosted, but they are not bass light. I think this would make a bass head happy. And if they are a bass head that likes details and clarity, you know, enough thump and a kick. If you are more of just rattle your bones and shake your glasses off your head type of bass, these won't really do that for you, but they'll come close. The mids are recessed, so the bass and the treble are more prominent in the mix. But at the same time, the mids still have a fullness about them. They have decent texture and they sound natural. Timbre can be just a little bit on the metallic side on some instruments, on some songs, but it's not super prominent, and it's not annoyingly prominent. The upper mids are more forward than the lower mids, and that is a problem. It's an assertive forwardness, and so the upper mids from about 2K onward are more forward in the mix, and it just sounds uneven, and they're not shouting at you, but they are very assertive, like someone is talking louder than the rest. Like music is playing louder than the rest of the mix, and it can just be fatiguing and very annoying. And then the treble has the same tendency as the upper mids and lower treble. It's just more forward, has nice air to it, has really nice details, but the problem is the resolution of all those details in the presentation region and in the treble just isn't refined. It has a harshness to it, and it just doesn't resolve real well, and because it's more accentuated, it's just more noticeable. The songs that already aren't mastered well will really sound bad on the BL-05, and the songs that have a lot of brighter tendencies to them will not sound good either. They will sound very glary and shimmering. Soundstage is average, maybe a little above average as far as width. It's not bad. It does a decent job of it, but the problem is it doesn't space things out real well. It kind of spaces everything in a box around your head, and even though the soundstage is a little bit wider, it sounds like details are coming straight from right here instead, and the details are more in your head than they are out of your head, if that makes sense. But it does a good job of isolation and separation of instruments. You can hear all the different things going on. It's just that they don't come from out here, they come from here, even though the soundstage is wider. The presentation area is just kind of messed up on the Blon BL-05. It has a tendency to be a little too assertive, a little too forward. Couple of things that fix the flaws. Number one, as I said, take those stock tips and toss them to the side. Get yourself some RHA dual density tip. With the stock tips, things were a little too shimmery, too glary, and just didn't resolve well at all. And also the mids had a tinny can cave sound to them. And so with the RHA dual density tip, I found that issue kind of resolved. The mids became more smooth and didn't have that tinny can cave sound to them. And then the resolution smoothed out just a little bit. It still presents itself, but it's not as frequent. and not quite as annoying with the RHA dual density tips as it is with stock tips. Also, Deconi bullet tips work well, but it did tone things down a little bit, and it seemed like I was losing a little bit of detail retrieval with the foams on, so I went with the RHA dual density tip. Also, comfort was a little bit better. Dual density tips tend to be a little bit more, they're not quite as soft and gushy like the stock tips were, and so they didn't mush in my ears as much, and they just sealed a little bit better and just seemed to have a little bit better fit and comfort. Overall, the Blon BL-05 is a decent IEM at $40 price point. It has a few flaws, especially in the resolution and in the soundstage, but for the most part it's a decent listen. I didn't really have any issues as far as wanting to throw them to the side and just put something else in. They were pleasant enough for me to listen to them for extended periods of time. How do they compare to other products? Well, to their sibling, the BL-03, the BL-03 is warmer and has more mid-bass presence. It has kind of more of a one note mid-bass. Doesn't really have sub-bass impact as much, but the mids are warmer and sound a little more natural, and then the upper mids and lower treble region is a little bit more controlled, but you do not get as much detail retrieval on the BL-03 as you do the BL-05, and the resolution on both is about the same, so they both have that harshness problem. The KZ-ZSX, which I have all tangled up here, hang on a second, sorry, picked them up the wrong way. I love it. All right, so there we go. All right, so the KZ-ZSX, they are clunkier, not as comfy. They also have just as bad of a cable, and they resolve better. They have better detail retrieval and better resolution in it, but they are a brighter sound. The one that everybody's been picking on lately, it seems like, the Noble X Universal. I would take the BL-05 over the Noble, even though the Noble is probably more technical. The BL-05 is more pleasant to listen to. So, how do they pair with gear? Not really a desktop IEM, a little too powerful for everything. I just found that they distorted and become shouty and just didn't sound good on desktop. So I used them on portable devices. They worked really well on DAPs and on my dongles and off of my phone. Didn't have any issues with that. Sounded good off of the hip DAC and also off the Oppo Ha2. The major issue that I have with the BL-05 is the resolution, because the treble is more accentuated and high, brighter than it is on the BL-03. The resolution and refinement of the sound just comes through, and it shows that it's lacking, and it just isn't as pleasant of a sound. But overall, do I recommend the BL-05? Yeah, I do recommend it. It is not an upgrade to a BL-03. It is more of a side grade. They complement each other extremely well. and I find that they have different sound signatures, and if you want a little bit more detail and a little bit more technical aspects of things, the BL-05. If you want to have a more fun, warm, chilled, laid back type of sound, the BL-03. And if you want to do gaming, the BL-03 is better than the BL-05. The BL-05 has that presentation issue that throws off gaming a little bit. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next videos, somewhere on the screen is going to be a subscription link, a notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off, and then check out the links down below for links to Patreon, PayPal, Discord, and links to the products reviewed. Also, all kinds of other good stuff down there. Thanks, and have yourself a great day. Don't forget to